Multis, same game multis, and same race multis. That's going to be the topic of today's episode. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into how they all work and how you can make some changes to the way that you're currently betting to put more money in your pocket. I'm Tom. I'm here with JP and Steve. And conservatively, we've made over $500,000 from a technique called match betting. And we've built a community of over 1,500 members that take tens of millions of dollars off the bookies every year. Now, JP, what is a multi?
So most people will know what a multi-bet is, but if you want to dumb it down, a multi-bet is a collection of legs multiplied together into one bet. So, for example, you could select 3 teams in the AFL this weekend, and every single one of those is paying $2, 3 different matches. If you multiply them together, 2 times 2 times 2, put it into a bet, that is called a multi-bet. The odds of that multi-bet would be $8, 2 times 2 times 2. The same thing with a horse. You could select 3 horses in 3 different races. All 3 of those things have to win for the multi-bet to win. A same game multi is something a little bit different. I'll let Steve explain what that is.
Yeah, so, I mean, the premise still remains the same. Multiple legs, multiple outcomes, multiple events within the same bet. But this time, all of the legs are within the same event, the same game, the same race even, the same race multis as well. So much like a multi, you know, all of the legs still have to win in order for the same game multi to win. But yeah, they're all within the same event. So essentially an example of that, you know, Patrick Cripps to kick 2 goals, Sam Walsh to get 25 disposals, Carlton to win a game. All of those events are within the same event, or all of those legs are within the same event. And much like a multi, they all have to win in order for that same gamer to win.
So same game multis have probably taken over in terms of popularity over the standard multi. We're seeing, you know, adverts. We're seeing, it's just general chit chat, right? Like anyone you know, if you speak to them, they've got a same game multi on. How has this happened and why is it the case, do you reckon?
Well, bookies obviously know this is the most profitable type of bet for them. So
explain that a bit further. Why is it profitable for them?
If you went back 20 years, obviously no one really would be betting multis. If you went back 10 years, same thing. And then we've got same game multis that probably started maybe like 8 years ago. I don't know, something like that. But essentially, I would say the main reason would be that people can make potentially stupid amounts of money, e.g. high payouts, big jackpots, because they can multiply their events together, which essentially gives them the hope that they can make a jackpot payout. So with that, the belief then changes across all 3 of those things, same races, same gamers, and multis, because you can't make a gazillion dollars off a single unless you're backing crazy odds with crazy stakes, right? But you can put a $5 bet on and you could make up to, I think Sportsbet's max is 500K, right? Or $1 million maybe. Something crazy, right?
Something crazy, yeah.
But the point is you can't do that with a single because it's simply odds aren't high enough. Like you're not going to get $1 million or a $100,000 odds on a single, but you can do that with a multi.
But the bookies know this, right?
Yes.
Like it's clear as day. You turn on any TV, like if you're watching any sport, there's going to be an ad on same game multi. AFL, Nathan Brown, pumping same game multis. Like they're shoving this down punters' throats for a reason, right? Do you think, this is off the cuff question, maybe for Steve, do you think that punters think they're more likely to win a 500-1 same game multi than they are to win a single on something paying 500-1?
Well, what can you get for 500-1?
Well, anyway? Say West Coast are paying 500-1 for the flag.
Yeah.
Do you reckon someone thinks that West Coast is more likely to win the flag than their 500-1 same game multi that they construct tonight, Collingwood versus Freo?
Yeah, that's a good question. I definitely think people don't really... I mean, you could break this down into what the actual odds are, and people probably don't even realise what the odds actually are. And when you compare 2 markets like that, like if you say to someone, hey, North Melbourne's paying 501 to 1 to win the flag, and your multi's paying 501, you know, probability says theoretically both of those events have the exact same likelihood of happening. But if you walk up to someone in the street and say, hey, what's your multi paying 501? Oh, you've essentially just backed North Melbourne to win the flag. Like that's the likelihood of happening. They're going to be like, nah. Because I've got Lockie Schultz to kick a goal. He's going to kick a goal. He always kicks a goal. And so they don't realize that combining heaps of correlated legs, which is a bit of another topic, heaps of those legs together, you know, is creating these huge odds, but it's made up of all, you know, outcomes that they think will happen. Outcomes that are like, no, that will win. But when you combine them all together, that creates, you know, such a low likelihood of all of those legs winning, but people necessarily don't make that connection.
Yeah, I would fully agree. I reckon if you walked up to like anyone sitting at an AFL game and you said, right now I've got $5 for you, would you rather put it on West Coast to win the flag at 500 to 1 or a same game multi 500 to 1? They wouldn't even think it'd be straight away the same game multi, because they would think in their head that North Melbourne or West Coast are 0% chance to win the flag.
Yeah.
But they don't think that about their 500 to 1 multi.
Nah.
And the bookies know this, right? This is why they are hammering them, and everyone is just like, you can't escape same game multis. So it's fascinating that the way that you've explained that, like, for me, it's baffling that you can think that one 500 to 1 outcome is absolutely no hope, yet the other one that mathematically suggests is the exact same likelihood, you would, almost every single person is going to select that. That's like hypnosis, right?
I think like a bit of a different example of that, which we've talked about off camera, I suppose, is the idea that a horse paying $1.20. Generally speaking, I don't reckon many people like to bet on a horse paying $1.20, right? Like, because they're thinking, nah, there's not much value there. Like, I've seen a $1.20 horse lose, I'm not going to touch it. But when they see a leg paying $1.20 for, someone to get 15 disposals, they think that's a lock. Now, the exact same example, now we're looking, instead of looking at $501 odds, we're looking at $1.20 odds, but someone thinks a $1.20 leg wouldn't worth it. I'm not gonna touch it. There's still a chance that will lose if it's a horse race. But when it comes to placing it into a same game multi, someone to get 15 disposals because they get 15 disposals the last 5-6 times that they've watched the game. No, I'll throw that in because that's a lock. Theoretically, the exact same chance of happening, two completely different perspectives of looking at it.
Well, you did a poll on this on the story last year, and then a video came out of it, which we'll chuck in the description. You literally said this.
Yeah.
Do you think 120 is more likely to happen, e.g. Dacos to get, 20 or 25, or a $1.20 horse, or maybe $1.50, the same thing, right? Yeah. Everybody almost said AFL selection.
Yeah.
And this goes into what's called the illusion of expertise. So people think that they know more about a topic, or they have some kind of expertise talking about like AFL, for example, and then it gives them that confidence, even though, like you said, the odds are the odds. Like a horse at $1.20 is priced at $1.20 because the bookies have priced that at that chance. Now, obviously, going into the specifics around like edge, the bookies are always going to rob you essentially on their odds, but same principle.
Yeah.
It's like there's no bigger chance of that leg winning because you watch AFL and you don't watch horses. Like, that's just the odds. Yeah, people definitely, this illusion of expertise that you just talked about there, people unfortunately fall into this trap, and it's something that the bookies pry on. People think that, and I'm probably going to stereotype this to younger people as well. I'm not too sure if you guys would agree or disagree with that, with people coming through the DMs, particularly 18, 19-year-olds who are new to punting and don't actually understand the traps of punting. They think, I watch a bit of AFL, so generally I bet on the AFL, or I watch a bit of the NBA, so generally I bet on the NBA. And they fall into this trap that they think they know more than the bookies, but unfortunately they don't, and the bookies just prey on them. So is that why, when looking at the $1.20 on its own, it's not appealing? But when you look at the $1.20 that you're throwing into your 5 or 10 leg same game multi, you then look at it as it's not $1.20, it's just a boost. That's a lock to boost up all of these other legs. Like, what is it? Like, what's the thought process there? The thought process is, okay, let's just say you've got Steve's first example was like the 3 Carlton players, like 3 goals, 25, 25.
Carlton will win,
or whatever, right? So let's just say that pays $4, right? Now, I'm going to put like $10 on this, $40 payout, $30 profit. It's not really that much. Yeah. Let's add Elijah Hollands to kick a goal as well. Newman to have 20. Oh, look, 455. Like, and then that just like back to the why do they exist? It's the bigger payout. So add $1.20 in because it's now going to make it $6.50, and then I'm going to make $55 instead of 30, and it's like that's why. So it's very easy for them to just add in because they want to make more money. That's essentially the lure. So adding extra legs to your multi or to your same game multi. If you were sitting with someone as they were constructing it, what are some things that you could get them to think about that would increase the likelihood of them either reducing the amount of legs that they've placed in their multi or reducing their stake because they start to understand how unlikely it is that their bet will win? For example, and Steve spoke about this off air, but I want to dive into this a bit deeper. You're not going to have $100 on the $1.20, but you'll have $100 on your multi
with the $1.20 leg in it. So what are some things that if you were sitting with someone and they're constructing their multi, you would be like, have you thought about this? Would you do this? And then if they thought about that or wouldn't do said action, they would change the way they construct their multi. What are some things you could get people to think about?
Well, straight off the bat, I would say, would you back any of those selections by themselves? So if Walsh is paying $1.20 to get 25, would you do that just as a single bet? And would you put $100 on it? Let's just say you're putting 100 on your same gamer. Yes or no? The next thing would be like, when was the last time that 10, let's say you're doing, or let's go with a 5-legger, same gamer, or even a multi. When was the last time 5 of your selections won in a row? Because that's what needs to happen for either a multi or a same gamer to win.
So I just want to dive into that a little bit deeper in terms of like, when was the last time you hit 5 legs in a row, whatever it may be, 5 bets in a row. What I would say to someone that's constructing their multi is scroll through your bet history, like scroll through it and check the last time 5 bets that you placed in a row won. Or if your multi's 10 legs, scroll through and when was the last time 10 selections won. And if you're scrolling through and you're scrolling and you're scrolling and you're scrolling and it's not there, that to me, maybe I don't think the same way as other people, but like to me, that's like, okay, well, it hasn't happened. It's probably not going to happen. Might need to take a few legs out. Are there other things that we can prompt people to do to think about it at the end of the day, right? If you think about this before you bet, you're going to have more money in your pocket or you're going to lose less, which ultimately means you have more money. So are there other things that we can be encouraging people to do or tactics that they can be employing before they actually ultimately place the bet?
So a couple of things come to mind in terms of how you can start thinking a little bit differently about it. Let's give an entirely different example here. And let's go with 10 $1.10 selections. So paying 1.1. If you multiply, this is a standard multi, not a multi-bet. If you multiply 1.1 times 1.1 10 times, the odds you get are $2.60, right? So essentially $2.60 for all 10 of those outcomes to happen. Now, if you're going to put $100 on that, you're going to make $160, right? $260 return, $100 invested, $160 profit. Would you put $100 on each of those legs separately? 100 times $1.10, 10 times, you would make $100 if you did all of that. But every single one of them would need to win. Would you do that?
So that's the first logical thing for them to ask themselves. And if they wouldn't, then that's not the multi you construct.
Yeah. Or
don't do it.
Maybe, think about what is actually happening there.
But that's practical, that's something that practically they can do in real time every time they do it.
The second one is to do with multiplying the legs together again. And I'll let Steve, so as the multi progresses, e.g., you've got a 5-leg multi, and not going into the specifics of odds, but let's just say you're 2 legs down out of 5. Yep. Would you then keep putting the same amount of money on the next bet? That's explain it better.
Yeah, the accumulated amount. Maybe Steve can dive into a little bit deeper. What actually is happening as you tick off each leg of your multi, and in real time dumb it down as to if it wasn't a multi but you were just betting the selections, what does that look like?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think about this with a multi. If you put 5 legs together, and I'll just start with an example straight away because I think people will be able to picture it a lot easier. Imagine the first leg. We've used $1.10 here. I'm going to use $2 odds just for the sake of things. You put $20 on a same game multi, it's paying $10 or something. The first leg, sorry, not a same game multi, just a normal multi. The first leg's paying $2. You got $10 on it. It wins. Now you've got $20, $10 profit. Now the next leg of that multi is paying $2 again. Now you're putting $20 on that second leg. And then if that wins, now you've got $40 return. If the third leg's paying $3, you've just gone and put $40 on a $3 leg. Now, if that wins, you've got $120. By the time you get to that 4th or the 5th leg, you're potentially placing $600, $700, $800, $900 on the 4th leg or the 5th leg. You might get to then a 10-leg multi paying $1, or the last leg of a 10-leg multi is paying $1.10, and you've effectively got $950 on this $1.10 leg for that multi to win. But when you just see, I'm going to put $100 on a 10-leg multi, you think you're only placing $100 on that bet. But if the first 9 legs get up, the last leg, you're essentially placing $950 on a leg paying $1.10. Who in their right mind would do that? I don't think many people would, but that is what you were doing with a multi, and something I don't think people probably consider too much.
So that would be the standard. You'd see this in every Facebook group, in every mate's DMs chat, whatever you want to call it, group chat. That would be the standard. Like, this would come up when it's like, I'm at my last leg of my multi. Should I cash out? And the most common response you're ever going to get is like, mate, it's a $10 bet.
Yeah.
So dive deeper into why is it actually not a $10 bet?
Yeah.
We'll
That last leg.
Use that example.
Yeah.
The example you just used there, you said there's $950 on the last leg
Yeah.
at $1.10.
Yeah.
Gives you a 1,045 payout. So
Yeah.
pretend the original multi-bet was paying out at
$10.45.
$10.45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For $100.
So you got $100 on it.
Yep.
Yeah. Or $10
lower.
at 1,000.
Yeah,
You
go
get
lower,
10
'cause-
bucks on at 1,040 odds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100,
And the last leg's $1.10.
And the last leg's
104.
$1.10. Yeah. Well, you're putting $950 on that final leg. But people don't realize that. But I think this is if you talk to any good investor, like people have lost money in the crypto market, going a little bit off topic, but it's a similar concept, right? It's like people think, oh, I only put $500 into the share market or $500 into the crypto market. Yes, it's at $5,000. I'm at $5,000 profit. No, you're not until you've sort of realized it. Yes, you can realize it. With this bet right here, if you've got $950 on the last leg, but you started with a $100 bet, you've got $950 of unrealized profits. Now, that's the technical financial term. Essentially, that means you can hedge out of your position. You can back against the other team. Say you've got Carlton at $1.10 and they're playing Collingwood at $8 or something. You can go and back Collingwood and guarantee yourself $940, $950 profit, whatever odds you're going to get. But people are like, no, I've only got $10 on this bet. But reality is you've actually got $950 on that final leg. Even though you started with $10, you've ticked off 9 wins. So your $10 has grown to 20, to grown to 40, grown to 80, but you haven't seen that accumulation. If you had to place all those bets individually and you put the $10 on, then you got the 20. Then you put the 20 on, all of a sudden you'd be like, oh, no, I do have $950 in my hands right now. You have that $950, it's just not in your hands, but you have the ability to get it, and therefore you are risking $950 on that last leg.
Well, the problem comes there because some bookies will offer a cash out value, right? And I would say that most people who see the cash out value would be actually tempted to take it, but it's where people don't have a cash out value that they then don't know how to hedge. So when they don't know how to hedge, how would you hedge? Let's just say you got 1,045 payout, right? And as you use the example there, you got $8 for Collingwood. Obviously these aren't real odds, but that's just what it is. So if you divided 1,045 divided by 8, if you put $130 on Collingwood, you are guaranteed a return of $1,045.
Let's dumb this down even further, right? I think what we need to be explaining here is if you have one leg left in your multi, how do they work out, regardless of the odds of the multi Steve's explained? Explain to them how they can work out how much they would need to bet on the other team to secure themselves a profit.
Yeah.
So the example that you're providing there is you have a 10-leg multi, you've put $10 on it, your payout is $1,045. What is the next step for them to work out how much they should bet on the other team? They have to work out what the odds are, right? So you go find the best odds for the other team, for the other result.
On any, like look at another bookie.
Of course.
Yeah.
Any other bookmaker, find the best odds for the alternate result. So if you've got Carlton, you go and find the best odds for Collingwood. Then once you find the best odds for Collingwood, how do they work out how much to put on it?
Well, you divide, so you got the payout, which was 1,045 in this case. You would then divide that by the odds of the other team, which in this case is 8. So you get 130.625, right? That amount you put on the other team.
So now what's going to happen? They've got $130 on the other team, which was Collingwood in this example. What happens now? Why have they done that?
Well, now they've got $1,045 returning on Collingwood because they've backed 130 times 8. Oops, 130 times 8. It's obviously not going to be the same because it's the decimals. They've got 1,045 and their original bet is paying out to a return of 1,045. So now no matter what happens, they're going to get 1,045. Now people are going to say, oh, what happens if it's a draw? Both of those would be paid out at half the odds. Half and half equals 1, meaning you would get roughly $530 on, or $520 on Collingwood and $520 on the multi. So you would still get back 1,040. Now, instead of just investing $10 at $104 odds to win all or nothing 1,040 profit, you now have invested 140 and you're guaranteed 1,040 return. So you've now made
$900.
$900 no matter what. You don't have to watch the match. You've made $900.
Yeah.
So instead of making 1,035 or 1,040, you've made 900. A gambler may say, well, I could have made 135 more.
And they
or whatever.
will.
But reality is you now have just guaranteed 900.
Hang on, hold that thought for a second, guys. If you're watching this on YouTube and you're sick of seeing our mugs, or you want to listen to this while you're driving to work, you can catch all of our episodes on any podcast platform, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever it is, we're there. See you there. Back to the show.
With those gamblers, though, I would challenge them again, and this is so common everywhere you look. Like, think about every time the last leg of your multi's lost. Think about every single time. Now, there are going to be people listening to this and they can remember these massive multis where the last leg lost. They're going to remember them, right? Every time that happened, you passed up an opportunity to make profit. So how many, on the outcome of all of your multis ever, most of them lose, right? I'm sure most punters would even agree to that. Most of my same game multis, my 10, 20 leggers, they all lose, right? Occasionally they win. For all of those multis that lost by one leg on the last leg, you could have locked in profit every single time. And if you did that, like, your profit and loss would be astronomically different. And I think that that's something, again, like we've spoken about the 3 things people could think about before they place their multi. I think if they understood that concept in like more depth, if they understood it to the same level that we understood it, they'd be making way more money. So if you're constructing a same game multi, what's some practical, actual real life tips that we can provide to people so that they can have more money in their pocket by still betting into the same games on the same events with the same bookies that they're currently using?
Yeah, well, first thing I will say is we don't encourage same gamers or multis unless you have something that has proven to make money over a long period of time, right? First thing, I wouldn't recommend.
What's a long period of time?
12 months, at least. Like, honestly, 12 months. Like, and 1,000 bets.
I'd almost argue minimum. Longer than 12 months.
Longer, yeah.
Because you can get people that, I won last year. Like, and people do have winning periods of, an AFL season. I'd say that's just a bit lucky. Unless they've got a structure behind it, they've got the correct mindset, they've got edge as well.
So the purpose of this, I guess, scenario, hypothetical, whatever it is, advice, is that we're going to accept that we aren't going to convert every single person on the face of the earth to do match betting, and they're still going to punt and they're still going to bet on these games. So what can we provide them for free, some value that's at least going to help them?
So the 3 things that I would do in this situation is, the first thing, I would always use a promotion. So something that's going to offer you a chance to get a bonus back. Now, there are things out there on various companies that either give you a bonus back no matter what happens, no matter how many legs lose, or if one leg loses. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, don't bet more than the promotion. So cap it, never more.
What does that mean?
E.g., if the bonus back is up to 50,
yep.
Don't have to bet 50 if you're not going to normally bet 50, but then don't bet more than 50. So don't bet 100, because 50 of that, your promotional insurance.
Makes sense.
The other thing is, I would always turn the bonus over. Now, we can show people how to do that in a second, but essentially when you get a bonus bet, once you know how to turn that bonus bet into 65% of that value, you then don't just get a bonus bet back, you actually get real money back, because you might put $50 on, get a bonus bet, you now got $32 back instead of 0 and gambling it. The other thing is, don't do more legs than the promotion. So if the promotion says Sportsbet gives you a 2-leg, no matter what happens, bonus back, don't put 3 legs, don't put 4 legs, don't put 6 legs, put 2. And then you are more likely to get a bonus back, which means you have more money in your pocket. And keeping within the staking plan of maximum promotion, you're now going to have less likelihood to lose a big amount of money. Anything else anyone else wants to add?
I've got nothing to add. That's perfectly summarised. At the end of the day, hit the minimum number of legs, use promos, turn over your bonus bets. That's perfect. I'm going to challenge that, though, because there's a lot of people that'll probably listen to that and be like, well, that's no fun. That's boring. What would you say to those people who want to go and chase those big Tas Lotto multis and, put 25 legs into a same game or into a multi, because that's what's fun and that's why they're doing it. What would you say to those people?
How honest can I be here?
Yeah, be honest.
Okay, well, if you don't like making money and you like throwing it to the bookies, just do that, because you're better off, honestly, because you're keeping everyone else who is wanting to make money in business. Essentially, the people out there who are making money off this, like we made over $500,000, unfortunately, that's only possible because people do that. So if you want to be the people that are not only funding the bookies, but also giving other people the opportunity, then unfortunately, that's just how the world works. Like you choose to lose, essentially.
For sure. Like, I think for a long period of time, what we've been trying to encourage people to do gets kind of construed, or people are like, I don't want to do that, or you're just trying to make money off me, or whatever it is. Like at the end of the day, like we're just providing practical advice that you can literally tonight, when you construct a same game multi, you can literally use the 3 things that JP just walked you through. And if you aren't just betting for this ego, hero, I'm a legend type thing, and you're actually looking to make some money, these are practical things that you can do that's going to put more money in your pocket. And like JP said, if you don't want to do that and you want to keep losing and you want to keep paying for the CEO of Sportsbet to go and, live in Malta for half the year or whatever, then that's fine. Like, do that. We don't care. We're not going to lose sleep over it. But for the people that are switched on, or the people that are looking for a way to make some money, these are things that you can be doing and should be doing if you want to put more money in your pocket. I think it's as simple as that.
I think as well, though, the key thing in all this, when you keep saying put money back in your pocket, do you think more money is going to come from winning or more money is going to come from losing less?
Well, what did Steve say about investors? It's not about their winners, it's about their losers or something?
Well, $1 saved is $1 earned.
What does that mean?
$1 saved. If you...
Let's dumb it down to this specific example on a multi-bet. $50 on the multi-bet.
Yeah, 100%. So if it's a free hit multi-bet, you got a free hit same game, or you put $50 on it. Now, you've outlaid $50, but no matter what, you're going to get a bonus bet return. Your worst case scenario is you get a bonus bet back. You hit a 2-legger. It's a 2-leg requirement to hit the same game multi. It's got to be above $2, I believe, as well. So you've got a 2-leg same game multi paying $2.50 or something like that. You put $50 on it. Worst case scenario, you get a bonus bet back. You can turn that bonus bet over for 60, 70, 80%, depending on your skill level in the match betting space. Let's just say 75%. I think that's about $35 back from your bonus bet, $37.50 back from that bonus bet. So you've outlaid $50. Worst case scenario, you get a bonus bet back, which you turn back into $37.50. Real money. So you've turned that bonus bet back into real money. That means you've only lost $12.50 now. So you've limited your downside. Instead of losing all $50 that you would originally lose if the promotion wasn't there, you have only lost $12.50 now. So you've essentially earned $37.50. Now people hear that and they think, oh, but I lost the $50 first. Yes, you have lost the $50 first, but now you haven't lost the whole $50. You've only lost $12.50. You've just saved yourself $37.50. $1 saved in the long term means that you end up profiting a lot more.
Yeah, and we'll put a video that you made about this with a coin.
Yeah.
Comparing a gambler with his bonus bets or her bonus bets to a match better turning it over. And we'll also put a tutorial in the description on how to actually turn a bonus over so people understand. Because now I've just said, oh yeah, you can turn them over, but like how? We'll put a video in the description for that.
With bonus bets as well, regardless of where they've come from, I think what you need to understand is that, say it's come from a losing bet, or it's come from a sign-up offer, or it's come from whatever, a loyalty bonus. It doesn't matter, right? It's there. Like, it is there in your account. So where it's come from is irrelevant, because the decision is now, do I throw this bonus bet away, or do I convert it into money, literally converted into risk-free money that I can put in my pocket? And like the devil's advocate to that whole thing that Steve was saying, do it for fun or whatever. Like, dude, you can actually bet more multis if you convert. No, seriously, like if you convert your bonuses into risk-free cash and you give yourself $100 every weekend, and instead of pissing the $100 away, maybe you make money some weekends, but the weekends where you don't make any money, but all of your $100 that you outlaid is covered by bonuses, and you turn that into $65, next weekend, you only have to put $35 in if $100 is your budget. And you got $65 to buy all your coffees for the week, or get your missus some flowers, or whatever it may be. You can put the $65 into your savings. So you just think a little bit more practically. You can still bet into the same games, with the same bookies. You still get the thrill of like, oh, I might win, but you're just doing it more practically so that you're not donating money just for the fucking sake of it.
100% spot on. What I also want to say to this, because I don't think we touched on it at the start when we asked why bookies want you doing these things. There's a lot of psych shit that happens in the head of a gambler once they start doing these activities. And the reason why, like, Sportsbet give you the opportunity to place a same game multi-bet with bonus back insurance is because they don't want you to do what we've just said in terms of turn that over every time, because if they do that, they're not going to be making much money long term, because they're not taking $50 off anyone anymore. They're taking 12, right? So what happens when you start gambling the bonus or trying to turn it into $500 or $1,000 or $10,000 every time you do it is you've now not only lost your 50, but you've then placed another bet, right? And let's just say that bet got really close to winning. You're then going to go again with your own money. That's the whole point of this. The bookie is trying to get you to bet more on their platform. So now they've got you betting twice, not once. And when you do that 3 times a weekend, you've now bet 6 times. And when you do things over and over again, your brain becomes
just forms the habit
to that activity. Same reason casinos have flocked to team up with someone like Tim Nackey, because no disrespect to Tim Nackey or whatever, do whatever you want, but the casino is literally seeing that as an opportunity to essentially catch people out, to make them addicted
bad habits
to casino.
Correct.
Like, hey, come bet here, put this code in, we'll pay Tim Nackey a fee, and then we'll get you on our platform. And we know that if you're on our platform, you're going to lose money. And our aim is to take money from you. That is our business. So that is what they're telling you. Sportsbet is doing the exact same thing.
Yeah. Tying it back to the bookies, there's some bookies out there that I don't think Sportsbet do, but more the middle to low range bookies. But I think Sportsbet do have requirements. Every single deposit offer, deposit bonus bet, there's certain turnover requirements on that deposit offer. So if you put $50 in, you get a $50 bonus bet. With some bookies, you have to turn that over like 3 times on particular odds above $2 in some instances. And that's just tying into what you're saying. They want you to have to bet that bet 3, 4, probably not 5 times. I don't think I've heard of a bookie like that.
This is casinos. Those online casinos sometimes have a 30 times turnover.
Yeah.
So even if you were to win from their bonus, bro, you've got no hope to fucking turn that all over and get it out. Because the more times you turn it over against their edge, like that's more likely to get to 0.
Exactly right. Not only does it mean that it's probably pretty unlikely that you're going to end up walking away with any money, but it means that you're being forced into building those habits in your brain, and you're being forced to playing the game 4, 5 times, and you're being forced to fueling that addiction a number of times. And then at the end of the day, it's all just a numbers game. The bookies know if they entice 100 people through their doors, I'm just making these numbers up, 10 people are going to continuously play every single week, 2 people are going to fall into a degenerate gambling behavior, 1 person's going to lose their life savings. It's just a pure numbers game. And the bookies know, well, if we just get 1 million people through our doors, all of a sudden that 1 person becomes 1,000 people, that 10 people becomes 1 million people. It's just a numbers game. So by you accepting the offers that the bookies are giving to you and playing the way that they want you to play, you're basically opening yourself up to just being one of their numbers.
A perfect real life example of this, and I'm sure almost any person that's been betting over the last 2 years will remember this promo. When Betr launched, they offered all of these ridiculous 101-1 odds on like AFL, NRL, all the futures, right? They did that purely, they're like, this is going to cost us an absolute fortune, but what it's going to do is it's going to get 200, 300,000 people to sign up to us this week. And then, as Steve said, we're just going to play the numbers game. We're going to catch some of the degen punters. We're going to catch some of the guys that are going to punt 10 grand a week. And sure, some people will win on this promo, but who gives a fuck? The other thing bookies are doing right now is they're getting smarter and smarter and smarter. They've got like TAB has like the if you miss by 1 disposal. So you're tracking it, man. You're getting in the app and tracking it. Sportsbet have the counter and tick it off as soon as it wins. They want you sitting in there on the app. They're offering like live cash out or live betting. The longer that you spend on the app, the more likely that Sportsbet are to catch those numbers, or Tab are to catch those numbers. And maybe we can push 5 of those people that are recreational punters. Maybe we can push an extra 1 of them into that full degen category by just keeping them on our app. And like, dude, you're on a hamster wheel.
Literally, you're getting psychologically played.
Yeah.
Silently. And the funniest part is a lot of people see it and they think it's funny and all this stuff. And then when you tell them this, they're like, oh, yeah, whatever. But
they're just a number. At the end of the day, they're like, yeah, whatever. I'm not going to be that 1 in 100 people that lose my life savings, but you're opening yourself up to being one of those people. I saw an ad a couple of days ago, Sportsbet's new ad at the moment, and they're brilliant. Their marketing team, honestly, I know they pay a lot of money for their marketing team, but they should get a pay rise. But the ad at the moment that Sportsbet are currently running is, it's so easy to use the Sportsbet app for what do you call it? When you got impersonation, terrible impersonation. But yeah, Sportsbet are basically telling you right now, I think the one they're talking about, if it was easy to be a ninja, everyone would do it. As easy as using the Sportsbet app or something like that. I've probably butchered that, but that's generally the gist. And they're basically telling you it is so easy to use our app. Come and use our app. But they're not just telling you that. They're basically admitting to you it is so easy to get you to stay on our app, continue to be a number on our app, and continue to lose on our app. And they've got a wide range of features that obviously makes it easier to use their app, but they're admitting to you it is making making it easier to lose on their app, and also screw with your mind as well, because they're providing this information. They're providing, for instance, one example. I know, JP, you want to go into a few examples as well. One example I'll just touch on now is you can see how many disposals every single player has had in their last 5 games. So instantly you're going to get this illusion of expertise and, oh yeah, well, this person's had 5. I've done the data, I've done the stats, and so therefore I'm pretty confident that this person's going to get 25 disposals in this game, something like that. What are a couple of the other features that they have?
Something even just like as basic as Bet with Mates, right? Now, that's not a feature, but it's been around since, I think, 2021. And that is probably, I would say, the best one, because what it does is it makes, you can share your bet and obviously share bets with your mates, literally, and essentially get everyone involved with the same bet. So you're multiplying those activities across a group of individuals. So all of a sudden, you've now got one person who's placing 2 bets, 10 bets a weekend. You've now got 10 people. So you're literally getting like more and more people doing the same thing, which then makes them more addicted to that behavior. And as well as that, you can challenge essentially more males are betting, right? We've probably got, I don't know, I'm not going to speculate, but I'd say 80% of people more are male betting, maybe 85, 90.
In what, our community? Or
just in general, in Australia.
Yeah, it'd be largely male.
Right? Males are more likely to be, they're fueled by ego generally, high testosterone.
We're idiots, like plain and simple.
Most of the time when people place a bet, they're not, like they're trying to make money, right? But a lot of the time they just want to like post about it. If it wins, every Facebook group, there's a hero in there posting his fucking 10-leg $1,000 win. It's like, brother, post your statement. But it's like the whole point of that is they make it so easy to share. They've got the share feature pre-result. They've also got the fact that the ticks are huge. Like they didn't have ticks fucking 10 years ago. It was, now it's like tick, 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 tick. And it's like, that's like, like one guy that I know wants to hit a 25-leg multi just to see the ticks. If that is not like the greatest hypnosis of all time, I don't know what is. Like he doesn't even care how much money he wins or loses. He just wants to say, I hit that.
The Bet with Mates feature, the genius thing about that is it just full on plays on as you said, like the male ego, but it's just peer pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we're making a Bet with Mates group now. We're all putting $50 in, and the guy that's probably the most conservative guy in the group that is like, man, I don't want to lose $50, but I don't want all the other guys to think I'm a pussy
FOMO.
or a coward. So, all right, I'll put my $50 in. Genius.
Yeah.
Sportsbet just got $50 that they probably weren't going to get out of the smarter guy in the group or the more conservative guy in the group, but because he doesn't want to stick out or because he's got peer pressured into it, he's jumping in and he's like, oh, fuck,
I found another
whatever,
one actually.
I'll do it.
You showed me this as well. In the Bet with Mates group, it shows you who is winning the most and who is losing the most.
Yeah, brilliant.
Like,
Yeah, it
if
shows
that's
you
not
like their strike rate,
an
their last
ego
5
hit.
bets. Yeah.
fuck, like
Yeah.
Steve, we're in a bet with mates. We got like me, Tom, Steve, and Tom's on a heater. Like he's made $500 in the
What are you
last
gonna
2
do?
weeks. Fuck, I'm a shit punter. Like I gotta catch up.
I'm going to catch up. That's exactly what you would do to it. You'd be like,
It's true though.
I need to bet more now because the only way I'm going to catch up to him is if I bet more.
So like, if you look at it, the way I would say this, because if you dumb it down, you could literally spend 2 hours going through every betting app and just pick apart this shit and try and look at it. If you want to hate us or say we're just trying to pump our own shit, just think of it like this. If I was a bookie, what would this feature do for me? Because the aim of a bookie is to make money. So put yourself in the shoes of the bookie and just look at it from that perspective. I can guarantee you will start identifying these features much easier. And then you can be like, fuck, they're trying to scam me here. Or they're trying to con me to do this. I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah, 100%.
Just think, well, it's like thinking in the inverse. Like it's
Literally.
different to that. It's like if I want to lose if I want to lose all my money punting, what would I do? You know, I'd bet with emotion. When I lose, I'd chase my losses. I'd bet massive 50, 80 leg same game multis, whatever, chasing thousands. These are all the things that I would do if I wanted to lose all my money from betting. How do you not lose all your money from betting? Do the complete opposite of all those things. And it's literally as simple as that.
Once you start like at 18, and the young people are the worst at it because they will sit there and say, oh, but I only like to spend $10 a weekend. If you go through your whole life, and I would say low percentage of people, there's a lot of people out there that just say, I've bet $10 a week since I was 20 years old and I've never gone higher than that. Like that's super rare, right? When you, like with anything, you start earning more money, you spend more. You start getting desensitized, you might have a big win where you make $500 off a $5 bet. I can almost guarantee, and people will relate to this, the moment you've won a big multi, you are literally almost guaranteed to then punt more for the next 6 months chasing a bigger payout. Like, it's just psych. Like anything, drugs, caffeine, coffee, Red Bulls, alcohol, you're going to chase a higher high most of the time. And the same comes with gambling. And gambling's probably the most dangerous one to get addicted to the fastest, I would say. I've never really dealt with other things, like in terms of speaking to other people in other addictions. But gambling, I've spoken to heaps of people, and so many people, once they can admit it and be like, yeah, cool, you're right. Like, I did have this big win, and then I fucking lost it all. And then I became addicted. I was watching a documentary the other night of this British guy. He had this massive win when he was in uni, right? And then he's still in debt of like $500,000. He lost like 1.5 million in like 15 years. Like, fully ruined his life, almost about to commit suicide, and somehow survived. And now he's doing docos. It's fucking sick to watch. But that is all from winning a bet at the start.
Yeah. It's fascinating when you hear 1.5 million in 15 years. And naturally, I reckon the reaction to that would be, well, that's not going to be me. But when you break it down into smaller increments, now 1.5 mil over 15 years, obviously that's 100 grand every single year. So it's 2 grand every single week. All of a sudden, when you break it down into smaller increments like that, it's like 2 grand every single week. Now, I would say the general public, not many people are losing 2 grand every single week. But say if you said to someone the same, similar to that, you said he lost 150 grand over 15 years, people would still be like, that won't be me. I'm never going to lose 150 grand. But when you break it down to, well, that's only $200 every single week for 15 years straight, everyone's like, oh, that could be me. Like, that's well and truly possible.
Hold that for 1 second, lads. If you're listening to this episode right now and you're enjoying it, or you've got something out of it, send it to your mate. Maybe they'll enjoy it. Maybe they'll get something out of it as well. All right, what were we saying?
The thing is as well that you've said there, you've just gone and said, oh, it's this amount per week on average, right? That's not how it happens.
Yeah.
It happens and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So this guy ended up, he was a school teacher. He borrowed money off kids' parents. So he was calling the kids' parents and launching stories that he needed money, and he just hammer it and just gone. And I think he went through, like, I don't want to quote because I could be wrong. It's like a lad Bible doco. He's like, I ended up going through like fucking 64 people or something.
Wow.
And betting in like 40 different people's names, because he would have bet stopped, and he just would have kept going through more and more. And this is what happens. That's an extreme case.
Yeah.
Like you said, I'm not going to be that person, but that's what can happen.
But it can happen, yeah.
And the more likely, the more things you do in that habit cycle, the more likely you are to become that person.
The not extreme case of this that would be probably more standard. Me and Steve have had heated discussions around like what is a mug, or what is like degen activity. I personally know a lot of people that would lose $100 a week on average, easily. So that's $5 grand a year. Over 10 years, which who cares, $5 grand a year, that's 50 grand. So every 10 years you're just donating a house deposit. Or you're donating, I don't know, what is that, 5 Europe trips?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, maybe not now, but yeah.
But like, if you can think of things a little bit more practically like that, it's $100 a week. Yeah, it is. But, when you're 20, $100 a week, doesn't matter. But when you're 30, you've passed up a house.
Yeah.
What I'll say to that is those people that you're talking about that lose 100, what were they losing 5 years ago?
Yeah, well, this is the thing.
It wasn't 100.
No, of course not.
What was it, 20? 5, 10?
Yeah, well, it starts as 5, 10, all these free calls, my mates bet $5 or $10, and it's like, yeah, but trust me, man, I've seen it. Like, it's $5 and $10 when you're 18, but then you're earning 60 or 70 grand, and then it's $20 is your standard bet, and then you're earning 150 grand, which sounds like a lot in today's day and age. It's probably not as much as you think, but then you're betting your standard bet's $200, and you're never getting ahead because you earn more, but then you bet more, and then you're just staying in the same spot the whole time that you keep progressing. And it's not even just the money you're losing on the punt. It's the opportunity for you to have done something else with that money that people forget. And that's why when you end up being like 30 or 40 and you've got 2 or 3 kids and you're getting slammed by your mortgage and you don't have savings and you're not going on holidays, or groceries are starting to fucking mount up. Yeah, man, that's because like you've done something for 20 years. Imagine you had all the money back that you donated punting when you're 40. And these guys I'm speaking to on the phone like, yeah, man, I wish I saw this 20 years ago. I wish I knew this when I was 18. And it's like, that's why I love what we're doing, because when you speak to, and Max loves doing this the most, you speak to 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old kids, and it's like, man, I promise you, I know what your next 10 years look like if you do this. I've spoken to people that have done this, and they would give everything to go back to when they were 18, 19 to know what you're about to know, because it's going to change your life. Not because of how much money you're going to make, but because of how much money you won't lose. And you can get so far ahead of the average person by just tweaking those things just slightly. And like, my hope is if someone watches this podcast and they've watched it because they want these tips to how they're going to make more from their same game multis, that's fine. But like, hopefully you've picked up a few other things that make you realize what you're doing. If you're doing the same thing everyone else is doing, you're going to get the same fucking outcome as everyone else. And no one wants to be the same as everybody else. So what are you doing about it to change? Like,
yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, you'll make more by losing less.
Correct.
Like if you don't lose 10K in the next 2 years, you've made 10K.
Yeah.
Like you are 10K different to what you could have been.
Which you could launch into an investment, or you're closer to getting your house, or you've earned $500 every year on that on your interest, whatever it may be. These are all added benefits. You don't waste any of the time and energy. You're not stressed. You don't hide secrets from your missus or whatever. Like, dude, there are so many things that if you just make small changes, you get miles and miles ahead.
Speaking of a small change that they can make, sort of tying it back into what we were saying, I think people can get a little bit overwhelmed if you say, well, don't lose 10 grand over 12 months. How do I not lose 10 grand over 12 months? Well, think of it, break it down into the smallest possible change that you can make with your multi is consider the loss of your multi. Not look at the numbers or the profits that you're going to make. Consider, how can I minimize the loss that I take from placing this bet? Obviously, using promotions, turning over your bonus bets. But if you can, every single profitable investor will always look at how I can minimize their loss, or how I can minimize my loss before I look at my profits. So if you're a gambler and you're losing, start thinking about how can I minimize the loss on this individual bet, and that will mean over a 12-month period, over a 10-year period, your losses have gone from 100 grand to 50 grand to 2 grand.
Plus 98K.
Plus 98K if you then start capitalizing on it too.
No, as in like from losing 100 to losing 2 is plus 98K.
Yeah, you're plus 98K, yeah.
The other thing as well is a lot of people, that's all valid. You absolutely nailed that thing you said before. Someone can sit there, and this is a TikTok comment that I've actually got a video made, it's not posted. He said, this is pretty sad, but he goes, I've been losing for 5 years, he's 23, I've been losing since I'm 18. I can afford to lose it because I work my 9 to 5. I don't care about money. And essentially, yeah, I'm doing it for fun because I like doing it, and I'm losing money because I can afford it. When you start to justify the losing, that's where it becomes also dangerous, because then let's just say this guy's making 50K a year. I dare say he's probably not making much more. Let's just say he starts making 100. What's he going to start being able to afford then? He's just going to start doing the same thing because he can afford to lose. Like, everyone can afford to gamble most of the time.
Yeah.
You can afford to lose it. But like Tom said, what are you losing? What are you the opportunity is done.
That's just like a life of degeneracy, like plain and simple. And like, I hate to say that, but like that, if I knew someone, like, well, I do know people that do kind of stuff like that, and now I can't encourage it. Like, I want to get around and be like, man, like, you have so much more potential. You don't need to be doing that. Like, there's so many other things you can do.
Yeah, hopefully people that are chasing massive multis and massive payouts have, I guess, got a bit better of an understanding about what they're actually doing with their multis and with their same gamers, and potentially they change their behavior, and potentially it means that they stop losing long term as much as what they would have lost if you've taken something. Then that would be fantastic too.
Well, the basic shit that we discussed in this can actually change your life. Like, it sounds really dramatic, but if you stop this now and you're 20 and you don't get to 30, like, fuck, that's a win. So hopefully there's people in that boat now that share this with your mate if he's losing his money. Share this with anyone that you think needs to hear it. Tell them, listen to this.
Yeah.
Because I can guarantee you will learn something from this, especially if you're losing at the moment.
Absolutely. That was a good chat.
So we actually did a similar podcast to this 2 years ago, which ends up being similar, if not exactly the same conversation. And it's funny how over a 2-year period, the same stuff that seems so easy to understand and simple and common sense has now multiplied and even got worse over the last 2 years.
It definitely has got worse.
So I've really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I think this is one of our more insightful episodes in terms of, like, there's genuine value that can be taken from this, whether you know anything about match betting or you don't. But the one thing I want to say to wrap this up is, if you're still listening to this or watching this, which is going to be a minuscule percentage of people that click on it, you're the type of individual that we want in our community. You're patient, you switched on, you're probably starting to think a bit differently about your punting already, and these are the guys that can take things to a whole nother level when they know, or when they have access to the skills and the tools that can actually allow you to take so much off the bookies if you know what you're doing. So if you're still listening or you're still watching, send us a DM on Instagram saying multi-podcast. I want to know that you've watched the whole thing, and we'll get in touch. I think there's damage that you can be doing in this space if you're that type of person. See you next time.
Cheers, guys.